Good morning and welcome to Now You Know. Unfortunately, we've been off the air for a little while, approximately 6 months, due to a little thing called COVID-19. And you may notice we're not wearing masks because we are socially distancing here this morning. And I'm more than 6 feet away from my guest, maybe about 10, 12 feet. So I think we're fairly safe here this morning. Just wanted to mention to you, this is a Katie Willett created show. Katie Willett is now in a nursing home up in Madison, Maple Crest. You may be aware there have been some COVID issues up there, and we're wishing Katie and everybody up there the best, and hopefully everything goes well for them. So anyways, welcome back. And we have this morning old friend, I would say, because we've had him on several times on the show. Travis Works, and he is what, executive director?
Yes.
Of what used to be the Cornville Charter School. It is now the community regional charter school, and then there's various branches of it. And we're sitting upstairs in what is Overman Academy. What we intend to do after a short interview here is have Travis lead us, along with, we have another guest who's sitting in the background here, Elizabeth Fernkiss. Pretty good. I remembered all of 5 minutes, so I'm doing okay. Who is the principal here at Overman Academy. So, and the Overman Academy is in the middle of downtown Skowhegan. I'm sure you're all aware of that. But they also have a couple other branches with new names as well. Everything, the structure has changed since we last interviewed you, Travis. So you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so in 2012 when the school started, it was the Cornville Regional Charter School, and it started with 60 learners out at the Cornville building on the West Ridge Road. And in the last 3 or 4 years, we've actually opened up a total of 3 buildings, and we've renamed them and branded them underneath the Community Regional Charter School name. And so we have over on South Factory Street our pre-K program. So we have 2 classrooms over there, and that is now known as the Creative Children's Academy. And the building in Cornville is now known as Dimensions Academy.
Yep. And
that serves kids that are K through 7.
Okay.
And then we have Overman Academy, which is grades 6 through 12.
Okay. So is this the first year you expanded all the way to 12?
Yes.
Yeah. And I read in the newspaper. See, we have this crack research staff that we employ before we go on the air. That being me. And I look up on the internet stuff. Of course, you can't believe everything you see on the internet, but it's from your site. But one thing about that stuff is it becomes rapidly outdated, and you guys are changing constantly. But from what I understand, like 360 kids from 20 towns?
Yeah, over 20 towns and at least 4 counties.
And 4 counties. Yeah. So you guys have been growing leaps and bounds over the years. And so you started in, what, 2012, and you were the first charter school in Maine, so you guys were cutting edge.
Yeah. And
you guys have just rapidly expanded since that time. How many kids here at Overman Academy now?
Our enrollment this year is about 160, 165. Yeah.
165.
Yeah, and I think we have a few slots open, so I think we're right around 150 or so.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have room to take a few more learners.
Okay. And tell me something, the way you get into this school apparently is you have to have some letter of intent form for March 1st, and you send that in, and then if you got too many people, you go to this lottery system. You want to explain how that works?
So what happens is that the only criteria to enter our school is you have to live in the state of Maine. Okay. And the other piece is that there has to be an opening for the age level that the child is, how old the child is. Yeah. And before March, everyone kind of fills out their intent to enroll. And if we say that there's 10 slots for 8-year-olds, but 12 people have signed up, then you have to hold a lottery.
Yeah.
If there's less than 10, then you don't need a lottery for that age level.
Okay.
Anything that comes in after March 1st goes onto the wait list, and if there's an opening, it's just on the order that they filled out the intent to enroll.
Okay. Do you have many lottery situations?
Oh yeah. So some age levels you'll have a lottery and some that you don't. So I think this year for like pre-K we had 32 slots and we had 31 before March 1st, so there wasn't a lottery. Yeah. And since then we've had about 7 or 8 that have signed up. Yeah. So and now that we're on the wait list and they're taking it the order that they come in.
Have you had many kids that have started in 2012 with you and continued all the way to current to 2020?
Yeah, we had a small group because it started with only 60.
Right.
So over time, and unfortunately, some of those kids aged out before we ended up having a middle school and high school program. Yeah. So, but we do have a definite core group of kids that were here from the beginning.
Okay.
So
now, this is the first time, filming-wise, that we've been into what is Overman Academy now, in probably 2 years or so. Mm-hmm. And it has changed dramatically, and in a few minutes we'll take you on a little tour to show you some of the updates, but tell me some of the things that have been going on. I mean, this is a constant state of flux here.
It is, you know, a lot of community members will ask us when are we going to do something on the outside of the building, because it doesn't look like the progress is there.
Including me.
Yeah, including you. And my response is that we need to take care of the kids first. So we have invested basically $2.6 million into renovation in the interior of the building. And that's our priority, and we're seeking grants and funding opportunities for the exterior, including the facade grant through the town. So we're chipping away at it. Inside the building with the $2.6 million, we're able to basically renovate the building to about 98% historically accurate to 1905. So the elevator and bathrooms were not part of that, but even the wall color you see here today is one of the original colors from 1905 after we acid washed the walls.
Yeah.
We restored all the woodwork and we replicated the woodwork. You'll see the folding walls like it's a convention center on the second floor that can be used by the community.
Yeah.
So for breakout sessions and workshops. And we just had those installed about a week or 2 ago. So those are very new.
Yeah. So what were you putting in on the second floor? Because I saw this.
Those were the walls.
Those were the walls. Because it was quite an operation going on here.
Each one of those panels, they're like 4 feet in width, is about 500 pounds.
Oh my God.
So it's 110 to 120 pounds per foot.
Yeah.
So we had to have a boom truck come up and lift them and get them through the window.
Okay.
So and that was a whole day process, and then it was...
Then you found out the walls weren't correct.
Yeah, unfortunately, the whole front section of the walls are supposed to be glass, and all the plans that we had in the shop drawings all indicate glass, but there was a miscommunication between the manufacturer and the contractor.
Okay.
So they are in the process of fixing that. So we'll have another crane down here.
I think we're just going to be here again. So
it will be.
That's going to be, that's going to be pretty interesting. So now, funding-wise, I mean, you talked about grants and other things. I mean, where does all the money come from, Travis? I mean, this is a lot of money that's been poured into a old building that needed a lot of TLC.
Oh, yes. So we rely on our state subsidy. So state money, which is part of the Essential Programs Services Model, EPS. And we receive about 97% of that formula, just about that amount. And what we've done is that we've been able to leverage different loans, especially with the renovations through like Bangor Savings, to complete the project. Okay. And we're actively seeking other grant opportunities and funding, including low interest loans through the USDA. So, because those loans are up to 40 years and 2%, so much more manageable. So
nice interest rate.
Nice interest rate, yes. And so we're very thrifty in how we spend our money. So for example, you know, with COVID we have plexiglass, and you'll see it around in the classrooms. We have about $30,000 worth of plexiglass on top of tables, and it only cost us $6,000.
Wow.
So because we were able to manufacture it downstairs in the Fabrication Lab. Okay. So we're able to use our resources very wisely, save money, and then put more resources to kids.
Now, tell me, in this COVID age, I mean, how are things being set up here? Obviously, it takes a little bit more attention and mask wearing and social distancing and all that stuff. Tell me how that's kind of...
It's actually gone very well. We were, anticipating a lot more bumps in the road, and it's come off pretty smooth. So back in May, the Department of Ed released guidelines for summer school programming, which was very restrictive of 10 or less kids in a space, and there were no other guidelines at that point for the fall. So we went on that restrictive guidelines as our starting point, which means that you have about half of the kids you normally would in a classroom space, and about 6 feet between people as much as possible. And so we put together our plan based on that, and then when the guidelines came out, we were prepared. So some of our classrooms, especially like dimensions at the younger level, have about 7 kids in each room, maybe 10. And I know that districts are rotating kids like Monday, Wednesday, then Tuesday and Thursday. Our plan embeds that the kids do the rotating within our school system, so it doesn't inconvenience the parents. So kids are here 5 days a week the entire time. Kids that are not here because they're medically fragile or are susceptible are learning from synchronous learning live while at home. So they remote into our classrooms. But essentially, we've been able to give distance sometimes up to 6 feet in classrooms and take all the precautions necessary. So.
And they're all wearing masks when they're in here. So I observed as I was going through. But social distancing in this building, I mean, you've got, what's this, and you're using the basement area too, right?
No, not yet.
Not yet, okay. So, what are we talking square footage here? This is one big building.
It's 10,000 square feet per floor, so there's about 15,000 square feet that we use currently. And this year with about 150 learners, we have, how many are remote learning at this point?
24.
24 are remote learning, so they're not here. And then we have about 35 learners that are out at Eaton Mountain.
Okay.
Which I know we'll get to later.
And well, that's part 2 here today. We're going to be talking about Eaton Mountain, which is a very exciting situation here.
So we've been able to socially distance because we reduced the number of kids in the building naturally. And over in the Dimensions Academy in Cornville, we've been able to social distance the kids by leveraging the gym because the kids are eating in the classroom and not the cafeteria. So we have 3 or 4 classroom spaces set up there of electives like sewing or robotics, and the kids will attend those classes in that space, and then therefore it reduces the class size. In addition to that, because of all of our precautions, we're able to give kids mask breaks throughout the day. So we have designated areas that they can go. They're highly disinfected in between each use behind plexiglass, but kids can take breaks throughout the day.
There must be constant disinfecting going on here, right?
A lot, yes.
No, it's very involved. A lot of things have been added that we never would have thought of before. So
chemical companies are making a lot of money right now.
A lot of money. That's for sure. Let me touch briefly on the education piece, and we'll finish up here, and then we're going to go on a brief tour of some of the improvements that they've made here in the building. But you guys are, I mean, you operate with the Common Core standards of education, and you do the math and the language and all that. But then you kind of get out and do some things that are not totally unique to what I consider a school curriculum. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we have to follow the main learning results, so by law, and we do that. We have a very proficiency-based program, so learners are not what we call time-based, so they're not sitting in a class and going through their time. They have to actually show evidence of learning that they've mastered a skill before moving on to the next progression. And we do follow the Common Core. It's just how you package it. We don't have a canned program for the content. So, and that gets into the learning opportunities. So we're very hands-on. We're very committed to relevant, meaningful educational opportunities. So we have learners that are engaged in projects in the building and outside of the building. One of those is Eaton Mountain. Other ones are micro businesses at this age level. We had about 15 learners last year that were starting up their micro businesses, right, where they had to submit a business plan They had to identify what products, they had to pay for their overhead. They had to go through the whole process, and then they actually started making products for sale. So
you're really trying to give them some business skills, some life skills, I think, and it's a little different than the standard education format, certainly that I was accustomed many years ago.
It's all application. So whether a child is going to be a doctor or a lawyer or go into a trade, there's certain things that they need to know how to navigate in life. For example, if you have someone who wants to be a doctor or a lawyer, they need to understand that there's an element of public relations, that there is an element of understanding with contractors what can be done, and they need to have a knowledge base, because otherwise they're at the whim and the mercy of someone else. So if they want to own their own business or be part of a practice, then they can understand how to make a logo. They can understand what goes into it, and they can either help save their costs, or they could actually be an informed consumer. So application is huge, and the other piece is that if we can get them connected with their community, then we build a relationship with them in their community, and they're more likely to return back to their community when they graduate college and they go out of state. So it's all about relationships.
Well, that would be nice, because you hear the stories of the brain drain and everybody going out of state. Although with COVID going on, it might be nice to stay right here in Maine, I think. So because we've got a number of things to do on this show, why don't we wrap up this portion, and then we're going to do a brief tour, and maybe you point out some of the changes that have been made here over the past year or so at Overman Academy, and then we're going to go on a little road trip out to Eaton Mountain and show you some stuff out there.
Absolutely. So this is the upstairs of Overman Academy. So in 1905, this was a law firm for E.M. Merrill. So he actually ran his practice right here. So he had his 2 assistants, and his office is right where we just filmed the original part of the segment. That was his office. And the rest of the space was either his partners, or he leased it out to like an optometrist and so forth. So it was mixed use. And then the rest of the entire building was all leased space. So, and it's interesting that in 1904, when the original building here burned, it was Coburn Hall. Okay. Which had like basically the opera house or a meeting place. It had stores. It had the police station. So, and after that burned, then all those facilities were created.
Well, the district court was here.
Right. Yes.
Right on down the hall on the right.
We're going to see right where that is.
Yeah.
This is our grand staircase, and if you notice right here, they with the newel posts, these acorn tops, our learners are actually going to use the CNC machine downstairs to actually recreate this to go on the staircase on the first floor that we created. So that ties in the old and the new. And yeah, do you want to talk about that little?
So the other piece is our learners designed our logo, and if you flip this upside down, you can see our logo is the wings of our raven are replicated kind of from that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
so we use that.
Yeah, so we had a couple of artists that wanted to take on the raven as the logo, and they felt that scroll right there was really important to tie into it.
Yeah, very clever.
You can kind of see it out there.
I see.
See the wings.
This is the logo for Overman Academy, then?
Yeah, and our actual district is that, so it says OA for Overman Academy, and the shield for the district is CRCS. Okay. So we have a unifying logo, CRCS, and then each of our buildings has their own independent.
So I believe the raven is a logo that will not offend anybody. Then,
right, yes.
Okay, so good. Have you talked about our naming and why we are who we are?
No, you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
I love our naming story.
Yeah, I'd like to hear the story.
So one of our learners is very interested in aviation, and 3 years ago when we were starting to name the school and going through that process, she discovered a former resident named Betty Overman Brown. And Betty Overman Brown was a World War II Wasp pilot. Okay. And so they did a bunch of research in Betty Overman Brown and discovered that she was this tremendous woman that lived in Skowhegan. And they decided that they wanted to name the school after her. So that's how we got Overman.
Oh, okay.
And over the course of the last 3 years, we've developed a relationship with the Brown family, her 2 sons and her daughter. Yep. And so they actually came out last year and participated in the naming ceremony and gave us their blessing to use their mother's legacy to kind of name our school.
Fabulous.
And she was a terrific woman and well known in the community. When I bring her name up, I get all sorts of, oh, Betty Overman Brown was such a lovely woman, and she really made an impact on the community. So it was really a great thing to be able to name our school after her.
Absolutely.
So then when we were coming up with our logo and our mascot, we talked to her son, Tyler Brown, who said that she loved to fly, and she loved to fly for no reason at all. And so he recommended having the raven, which is also a bird that people identify as just flying and soaring through the air.
Oh,
and
neat.
so that was the connection. So that's why we're the Ravens.
Well, thank you for letting. By the way, this is Elizabeth Brinker. She was the lady behind the camera.
Yes.
And she is the principal, so she knows all this stuff, which is good.
And she led the whole process through with the learners and really connected with Tyler over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And he said that the raven was really special to his mother.
So it's really important. I just love with our community connection that our tie-in and our name even goes back to the community and someone that was important to the community. So
Very nice. Okay, let's stroll.
So we're going to enter through these doors, which was the district court.
Okay.
Until it moved in 1996.
Yeah.
And we've renovated it, and we just installed these folding walls. So if you come on in.
I'm ready.
So it really runs like a convention center, right? We have 5 different studio spaces, as we call them. And you can open up these walls fully and have the entire floor open, or you can create 5 spaces, 4, 3, 2, or 1. So a lot of flexibility.
A lot of flexibility.
A lot. And this entire wall system right here on this side will have glass in it. So once we get those fixed. Come on in, 24. So right now this is an example. We have learners that are in class, and we've opened up our 2 spaces. So that way there's 2 studio spaces to accommodate the spacing needed. And you'll see the plexiglass shields that I mentioned earlier that we were able to make for very low cost. So it's great when you can make the products and the kids can see it and the kids can have a hand too. So on this floor also, I don't know if you'd like to show them the embroidery.
oh, sure.
So
I don't know that I can.
Oh, you don't have a key. So we do have an embroidery machine that has 15 thread count. So we can embroider different items and apparel. And we actually have kids that are running micro businesses to do that for local.
Do you guys make masks?
Actually, I was thinking about doing an offering for that on Friday.
Yes.
I thought it'd be good to have a little logo, our school logo.
Yes, definitely. So the goal here is that this space should be used by the community on an ongoing basis, on nights, weekends, and throughout the summer. My belief is that when you have an asset in the community, it should be leveraged and not just used for 175 days out of the year. Mm-hmm. So our goal is that now we have the walls in that we can actually start booking some spaces and lend this to meeting spaces for different community organizations.
You can always use meeting space.
Absolutely. There's a big need in the community for that. We'll head right on downstairs. So on the first floor here at Overman Academy, it was really important to us to really have an entrance that would really speak out about the historical elements. So this staircase was actually, we built it, but in 1905 it was in the original plans. It was in a different part, so it was an L-shaped. So it's a little bit different, but we kept the width as much as we could, and we'll put the acorn tops on here. So, and if you notice the pigment on the walls, that is the original color from 1905. The blues are from the original palette from 1905, and all the trim work is matching. So, so we really wanted to capture the historical piece and preserve that. So that was a commitment that we had, and that we made to the previous owner, Kevin Holland, who owns Variety Drug. So in here we have a section that is like what we call clean tech. So we have a laser engraver. Right now we're getting our technology set up for our learners, so with getting the last of the laptops and iPads out. We have a 54-inch wide area printer that does vehicle wraps, banners, window clings. So a lot of creativity in this place, especially the Fabrication Lab. Our belief is that if kids can imagine something, they can design it and they can create it, whether it's wood, plastic, metal, digital, ceramic, or even fabric. So right now we have a class going on forensics. And then over here we have our woodworking fabrication section. So this is right where we get a lot of use out of making things, including milling out the plexiglass. And one thing I want to highlight over here is, if you come over, this is a project that the kids are working on that we started last spring, but due to COVID we had to pause. I'll bring you right over to the wall. So upstairs we have a kitchen area, what we call a learner lounge area, right where it'll be a flexible work environment, right where, like in college, you can go and kind of take a break, kind of relax, and work in a very relaxed work environment. So there'll be islands of bar stools in there that the kids are making. But all of those cabinets, the kids are actually going to be constructing over the next month or two. And that's a custom cabinet job that's about $80,000 to $100,000 if you were to actually purchase those cabinets, and we're talking less than $20,000 of material. So when we talk about cost savings and how to budget, we're able to do things because we're very thrifty and we use our resources and take advantage of everything we can.
Speaking of that, are you actually going to have some product available where you can sell to the community?
Oh yes. And that's where the kids are working on their micro businesses, so they're setting up their own storefronts and so forth. And when we get to the Eaton Mountain project, the learners are actually going to be running some micro businesses and selling products out at Eaton Mountain, so as part of that.
Hey folks, we're part 2 of the show. Welcome to Eaton Mountain Ski Area. And gosh, I got to tell you, Travis, I'm not sure I ever thought I would be saying that, but Eaton Mountain is, well, I grew up skiing at Eaton Mountain and had a lot of fun out here over the years, but unfortunately it's fallen on hard times in recent years, and a fellow by the name of Dave Beers bought it back in 2008, and Dave has done his best to get it up and going, and included some ski tubing and I think even some summertime activities here, but unfortunately, he was unable to get it going to the level that he wanted. So it probably would have continued to be more and more dilapidated had not a new situation come about. And so Travis Works and the community school have gotten involved in this, and you're setting up a brand new foundation called the Eaton Mountain Foundation. And it's really 2 parts to this, right? I mean, there's the Eaton Mountain Foundation, and there's the community school that is going to be involved in planning and fundraising and all sorts of stuff to kind of get this up and give their ideas to the foundation, and then I'm assuming the foundation is going to implement it. So you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, so, and I'll back up for a moment, because I think I was on the show 3 years ago when we were first opening what is now Overman Academy.
Yep.
And I talked about that we wanted to create these learning opportunities for kids that were multi-year, right, where they would identify a problem in the community, come up with a solution that impacted at least 3 to 5 community partners, and then develop a sustainable business plan that would be for 5, 10, and 15 years, and then identify sources of funding for those that business plan from local, state, and national audience members. So that's something that we've been committed to, and while we've been growing and doing all the renovations, now that we've kind of got that underway, it's now time to turn to those bigger systemic community projects. And Eaton Mountain was one of those projects that sort of fell into our lap, if you will, starting back last May. So what we've done is that there is an Eaton Mountain Foundation, and I also serve as the executive director right now of that foundation, while also the executive director of the charter school. And we're in the process of firming up all the bylaws with the foundation, which we'll have done in the next 2 weeks. But essentially, the foundation has the lease agreement with David S. Bears, who lives in Ohio. the lease agreement is for 20 years. And it's very favorable for both the foundation and Dave to get the Eaton Mountain property up and running.
Sure.
So what's happening is that the foundation is basically contracting with the school for services. So the kids are working for the foundation to develop kind of infrastructure business plan, kind of lay everything out. They'll turn that evidence over to the foundation, and then the foundation then will make the decision about how they're going to execute it. So, and actually we will have some of our learners on the foundation board.
Okay.
So not just as an advisory role, but truly on the actual board.
On the board.
Yep. So they're going to get that life experience right from the start. So.
Well, I got to say, I mean, you got a major project here. The infrastructure is pretty, let's be frank, I mean, it's pretty dilapidated out here. I mean, it's been many years since any real money has been put into fixing this up. And as I look up the mountain, a lot of the trails that I was familiar with growing out have grown in. So there's quite a bit to do. The lifts haven't really been used. The chairlift hasn't been used in many years. And it's going to need major money involved. And actually, our conversation before going on the air is you're actually replacing that lift with a used chairlift. And talk about that a little bit. I mean, that's a fair amount of money.
Yeah. So we had an assessment done by an owner of another ski mountain, Lost Valley, in southern Maine. He came up and gave us an assessment to replace this current lift with a triple chair lift that's used, and that would run about $750,000, and that includes the install.
Yeah.
So that's one option. The other option is that we will be reaching out to the larger mountains like Sugarloaf or Sunday River to see if as they upgrade, if we can purchase one for a discounted price, or if it would be a donation. So
yeah, as we spoke about before going on the air, is both of those big mountains certainly could use a family mountain like Eaton Mountain as a kind of a feeder system for them. So there's some value in them helping you out here, I would think.
Absolutely.
And they both have, as I understand, 10-year plans to upgrade their business, including brand new lifts. So there may possibly be some lifts available for use somewhere else, say Eaton Mountain.
That would be that would be ideal.
Yeah.
So what we're also looking at is that the Eaton Mountain project is to turn this into a 4-season recreation center, a destination place. So it's not just about one season; it's about the entire year.
Okay.
So, and our learners, you're going to find out in a little while when you talk to a few of them about some of their ideas.
Yeah.
Including the previous owner back had started campsites.
Yeah.
So there's electricity and water out to those and so forth.
Oh, okay.
And they've been let go over time. But some of the learners are talking about running leadership camps.
Yeah.
So like a Camp Kiev kind of piece, and doing some overnight stuff here during the summer, along with mountain biking.
Yeah, that would be nice. I think that they did try to make this more of a 4-season under previous owners, which unfortunately didn't really go too far. But that would be interesting to have like a camp here in the summertime and use it that way. Because most of the skiers now, quite frankly, are trying to brand themselves as 4-season recreation areas. That's where the money is, if you can get people coming on a year-round basis. So that'd be pretty good if you can make all that happen. Not if you can make it, when you make it.
Yes.
We'll talk positively here.
Absolutely.
But it is a big project. The infrastructure is dilapidated. So work to be done here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great things and a lot of great assets that are here, including the ski rental building. When we opened the door the other day, it is filled with boots, skis, and snowboards. Within a couple of hours, you can actually have that operational. It's almost like when they close down, it's like the time, it's like the land that time forgot. It's just the buildings were closed up and all the equipment is still in there.
Yeah.
In great condition.
Oh, absolutely. Well, so you're going to try to get grants then, and the students are going to help design something to apply for grants for this. And would it be a combination of grants and potentially loans?
Yeah, and we're looking at a combination of grants, capital fundraising, so in donations, and then also potentially some loans. Yeah. So
I would think the community would be very supportive of something like this. I mean, in recent years, I guess they've had to you know, the people that had their kids on ski teams and stuff would have to travel over to Farmington to Titcomb to use their facilities, which is fine. But when you have something potentially like this right in the Skowhegan area, boy, that would be a big plus if this could get going again, that's for sure. Do we want to talk a little bit with the kids here to see what their plans are?
Yeah, Mr. Canning is our one of our facilitators out here. He's kind of the lead, and he's been working with our learners for the last couple of years at Overman, and he ran the micro businesses with them. And when this opportunity came available, he jumped right on board, saying that he would like to lead the group of kids out here.
Okay, well, so he's coming over in our direction, I believe.
So I'll have him speak a little bit, and then talk about which kids.
Canning,
yes.
Canning. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So, tell us how you're going to do this whole thing.
It's
in 3 words.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of it's trial and error.
Yeah.
Everything will be based on running a business, getting this back going. With that, the learning targets that are academic targets will be interspersed, and they will be learning those targets in real life applications.
Okay.
We did surface area and area yesterday. They measured out the building inside to be painted, floors.
Okay.
Surface area tables, and so there was a lot of kids that need the area target, so that's what we focused on.
So are the kids going to do some of the physical construction here? Is that part of the plan?
Well, minor stuff, yes.
Yeah.
The major stuff we'll have to get contractors in.
Okay.
The older kids could possibly get internships with contractors.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice.
Our goal is to have contractors that involve the kids, explain what's going on, at least let them watch.
It would be nice to have some local contractors involved.
Absolutely.
I mean, of course, you guys are all about community, and getting as many community people involved in this project is obviously should be a goal anyways. I'm sure it is. So, yeah, there's a lot to be done out here, and maybe in a minute we'll go into the lodge and by the ski school and over to the lift so you can see for yourself what needs to be done and how they're going to do it. So
absolutely, we'll do that. The kids were hoping we could do it before and after.
We have on camera Eli Fowler.
Yes.
And you're with the Overman School.
Yes, I am.
And you are going to be very involved with this Eaton Mountain project. So tell me what this is like, really. I mean, you're using all your skills here to get this going. And this is a big project.
Yes, it is.
So you got a lot of responsibility, right?
Yes, we all do.
Yeah. Now tell me a little bit. What's your role in this?
Well, my role is we all separated into groups.
Okay.
And we're doing certain things. I'm part of the group that does like the website.
Okay.
And that will be updated here pretty quick as well. But like we have like a kitchen crew that'll be like cooking and all that.
Okay.
And then we have like people that will go up in the trails, clean up and trim them down a little bit.
Oh yeah. There'll be a lot of work to do there, that's for sure.
Yes, we will be doing all sorts of new things. Like Mr. Works said, there'll be like an all year round place at some point. Mm-hmm. We won't be open this winter, but probably next winter.
That's what I understand. Due to, you got to ramp up first of all, and then COVID is probably going to limit what you can do this year.
Yep.
And so we're going to be operating in a post-COVID world next winter, right? And we're really going to ramp this up. Is that? I'm very optimistic. I hope this will be true. But anyways, your plan is really for 21-22, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And what do you guys envision having going for that ski season?
We're thinking about still doing snow tubing.
Okay.
And skiing once we get the new chairlift in.
Okay.
And like in the summertime and stuff, we're thinking about like mountain biking and.
Okay. That's become big in the ski areas, by the way.
Yes.
Both Sugarloaf and Sunday River do a lot. Well, non-COVID years, they do a lot of mountain biking, and they usually will. They have something, they attach them to the chairs and they ride up and they...
That's what we plan to do as well. Something that you can put your bike right on and just cruise right along with it.
Yeah.
Up the lift or whatever.
And you've got some pretty interesting, what I think pretty interesting mountain biking trails here. This is not an easy mountain to do. I mean, the lower area has some beginner parts, but I'm just remembering back, this is a lot of years, but I'm remembering back to when I was a kid skiing out here, and there are some very difficult, what they would call double diamond trails, running off the top of here. So if you convert those into mountain biking in the summertime, they're going to be
pretty steep.
Pretty steep.
And like also in the wintertime, we're thinking about like letting the snowmobiles go through and just.
We're close to snowmobile trails here, aren't we? Are we off the ITS? ITS is someplace around here. So you could have that set up.
Yep.
You know, actually, some places, that are near the ITS, they actually, maybe the snowmobilers come through and you can serve meals or something to them right out of the base lodge, huh?
Yeah, we plan on either having a diner, restaurant, or like a bar and all that.
Yeah.
We've already started cleaning up the campsites.
Yeah.
And probably, hopefully, pretty soon we'll be getting campers in and.
Yeah. So the goal is to be a 4-season.
Yes, it is.
Area. So that should be really nice.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. I believe we have some other young students who are going to be on here too. So, who is this?
Haley.
Hi, Haley. Now tell me a little bit, what's your role in all of this?
I have a few different things. I mainly like to help out with the people who need it.
Okay.
I help with the slides, and I was doing the vision of what we have with a few friends.
Okay.
And do quite a bit here and there.
And you have a big vision here?
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah, any particular ideas that you have?
A few things we could do. I'm thinking some more summer activities, so we keep it open all season. I'm really thinking a sunflower patch for a little one, for a little maze for the little kids.
Yeah.
Instead of that big one at the big sunflower patch.
Well, that'll make it look nice. Yeah.
And then getting hiking back up and the snowshoe.
The hiking part. Yeah, that's a new another thing too. You can make some maybe combination mountain biking trails and hiking trails and so forth around here. And then, as I said, there's some pretty challenging hiking. I would think. I know I'd get pretty tired hiking up to the top of that.
For being a mountain, if that's one of the smallest in over here, it's really difficult. I climbed a few mountains the other day, and this one, holy, it may be small, but it's challenging.
Oh, no kidding. No kidding. Well, what you could do maybe is you could, the what used to be the beginner trail out behind me called the Fawn. Maybe you can run a hiking trail right around the perimeter of that, over the top and around. How about that for an idea?
That sounds like an amazing idea.
There, put that on your book.
I'll make sure I add it to my list of stuff.
No, but and that would be a little bit more gentle than straight up the Moose Trail out here. So,
yeah.
Yep. Any ideas you got? Any other ideas?
I really would like to see during the summer there be a lot more stuff music fest or camping. Winter camping would be amazing, especially if we have the cabin set up.
Yeah.
Do winter camping.
Winter camping, yeah.
Because some people like that, and especially if there's a cabin, there's heat and stuff, and it would be perfect.
Okay. God, you've got some very creative ideas for here.
A couple of the kids thought about that the winter camping would be good for when they did Nordic and Alpine ski races on the weekend, and people that had to travel.
Yeah.
They could actually use the campsites to stay.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to have other accommodations.
Well, yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. So for those families that are.
And maybe you get them here winter camping. They also want to pay to go skiing and eat your food in the lodge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With our food, we're going to try to make it variety because, in general, people have allergies. And, I'm attempting to make way better gluten-free bread because gluten-free allergies.
Okay. Yeah, you got to account for that these days.
Yeah. There's a lot of allergies nowadays.
There are a lot of allergies these days. Well, you have gotten some really creative ideas. I really appreciate your coming on.
You're welcome.
And who's the next one? Okay, who do we have here?
Chris Ann.
Chris?
Natalie.
Yeah, Chris is a good name. Natalie's a good name too. My name is Chris. So, what's your role?
Me and my friend Gavin were fixing up the bulletin board, and I'm part of another group fixing around the flagpole and fixing that to make a flower bed.
Okay, you're the ambiance guy then. You're flowers and things like that. Okay, how about you, Natalie?
Mainly today I've been working on like getting the breakfast ready, like planning what the meals are going to be for like the week ahead. Okay. And I will be a part of doing like the floral kind of like arrangements by the flagpole too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're just talking about the breakfast to feed you guys right now.
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
I think so. And then we might later like open it up to other people.
Yeah. Well, once next year when it's opened up again, might you be serving breakfasts here?
I think so.
Possibly.
But
lunch
we're not
and dinner?
100% sure yet.
Yeah. Well, we're still in the early formative stages of this, right?
Right.
So, you guys got any big ideas in your head as to what we should be doing here too?
Well, I really think that we should like do some hiking trails and like mountain biking trails.
Absolutely.
We should get some arts like in here, like whether it's like we could possibly host like concerts or like movie nights up here, like projected against one of the buildings. And yeah, just do like some arts and crafts stuff too.
Yeah. Oh, that would be interesting. You know, both I'll go with the big ski areas here. Both Sugarloaf and Sunday River have this fall arts and crafts festival. It's kind of like getting into ski season, and they have products, people from around the state with different products, agricultural products, and also art and so forth. So maybe would you guys do something like that?
I think that would be a good idea. We haven't like had too many very definite plans, but I think that would be like a really good idea to get some arts in here.
Yeah. Any other ideas you got?
Just some places for kids, like some days for kids come up here, hang out.
Okay.
For just come hang out away from all the other fun stuff.
Yeah.
To come up here, have some fun programs like football, kickball.
Okay, that's part of the 4-season thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we could get like a 2-week like summer camp in here too, and just do hiking and like sports and just fun stuff like that.
So you guys got a lot of great ideas here, and this is going to be one active place when you get it going.
Yeah.
Right.
So thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you for having me on here.
So this is the Mountain Lodge. So our learners have come in and they've been rearranging things and setting it up so that way we have some classroom space out here, or some temporary spaces that we can at least meet and gather before they go outside to be in the outside environment. And right now they have been taking an inventory of everything within the lodge and then moving things all around. So. And it's pretty self-sufficient, so the kids, like just a moment ago, we had one of our learners who's back to me. They take and maintain this space throughout the day. And the first couple of weeks of school, we have been rotating different learners out here at different points. And it was interesting that at the end of last week, we had a group come out and some of the kids greeted them off the bus and said, "This is our home, please take care of it."
Nice.
You know, so the expectations were set.
Yeah.
And they all have their different roles and responsibilities, and they help maintain and keep it going.
Any vision as to what this place? Actually, it looks better than I thought it was going to. So, any vision as to how this might look different?
Eventually, like long term, our goal with some of the kids have talked about if we were to tear down this lodge and build a new lodge behind it, and then use this patio slab as a place for bands. And to project the music onto the mountainside. So sculpt it out so that way you can have actually
like a little amphitheater type of thing. Yeah.
So you can put live bands here undercover and then have a nice lodge that really overlooks.
That's very nice.
So that's long term, because this lodge is it is aging. It is in 2 different sections, right? Where one is it's actually falling. Falling apart a little bit.
Yeah.
So it would be better long term to replace the lodge than try to.
Now there used to be something on the other side of that wall over there. There was a bar, pub place too. Is that still there? They tear that down.
Well, that burned in 2005. So there was a fire. That burned that section of the lodge.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
So, but no, the learners have really looked at how they can repurpose the slab, how they can build location for the new lodge. right where it is now, so that way this becomes the patio space.
Okay.
So they're really thinking about that, forward thinking about how they can make this more of the ideal experience for consumers to come to the mountain.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah. So.
Okay, do we want to walk around? We can go over to the ski school area, and then eventually over to the lift area.
There's a lot of great equipment that's around here, including like a bucket loader, a bulldozer, a 6-wheeler, 4 or 5 snowmobiles. There's a lot of great infrastructure pieces here that just need a little TLC. So
I'm pleasantly surprised. A lot of this stuff looks in reasonably good condition.
Yeah, it's really not bad. He has 3 groomers over here. One of them is the primary groomer, and the other ones are more parts machines to keep the other one going. But there's a lot of equipment here that is usable, and of course it could always be upgraded, but it is usable equipment.
Now, one of the keys to a ski area these days is snowmaking. You know, and I know the bigger areas put tons of money into their snowmaking system. What do you envision there? Because our winters, as you know, are pretty fickle sometimes.
Oh yes.
And if you're going to have sustained ski season, snowmaking is pretty critical.
It is, and so there's a lower pond and there's an upper pond. So the lower pond has 2, and I believe the upper pond feeds the lower pond.
Okay.
It has 2 pumps in it that pump about 300 gallons per minute.
Yep.
And there's a whole infrastructure with a piping there, and then we have these snow cannons.
Okay.
Which these snow cannons are what you would find at Sunday River or even Sugarloaf.
Yeah, they're nice, actually.
Yeah. So.
And they're mobile.
They are mobile. Titcomb has more fixed ones that would take about 4 to 5 times longer to make snow.
Yeah.
So we can cover this area pretty well. So the kind of one of the barriers that we're looking at for infrastructure-wise is making sure you have the electricity load up the mountain and also the water supply.
Yeah,
those are the 2 things to balance.
That was a question, because I remember at one time the electrical system here was pretty sketchy.
It's a little rough.
Yeah,
pretty rough. So we found that they that at some point when they put the campsites in, there are electrical lines that are just Romex that's stapled to a tree. So,
yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of work that has to be done to bring that up to code. So which we're very well aware of, but we're doing all the assessments to plan that out. So,
okay.
Yeah. So I want to take you in here. This is the ski rental building.
This is ski rental. This has been here forever. Okay, we'll go in. My God, we got helmets and ski boots and skis and snowboards and everything in here still.
So yeah, there's a lot of equipment that's they're shaped skis. They're not in bad shape.
Yeah.
That is still usable, and once as we get going, there's already enough infrastructure here to get things started. So yeah, so this is an example, and these are the snow tubes for when tubing's up and running.
Okay.
So we relocated in this building so we could use that building for some activities and planning.
So it's pretty, since they've been doing it in previous seasons, getting the snow tubing up and running should be fairly
that's
simple.
an easy one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the easy one.
Yeah. Without COVID, that would be simple.
Yeah.
COVID makes it a challenge, and this, honestly, this season gives us a year to plan. And then the goal is next summer we'll open up with summer camps out here and get some of the summer programming up and going, and then slide into snow tubing into the winter.
Okay.
So we want to start the summer activities next June or July.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
Fantastic. Let's take a run over to the chairlift.
Yeah.
At least they've caved this a little bit.
Yeah, the winter camping is interesting. The kids are looking at these tents that are made to work throughout the winter with stoves in the center of them.
Yeah.
And that way it provides year-round camping. And like I said, if we hold a Nordic or Alpine ski race, then families can choose to rent one of those tent sites and stay for the evening or for the weekend.
Oh, fantastic!
So
where was the camping area?
Right over here. I can show you a couple of the sites.
Okay.
Yeah, there was even a disc golf course that was started.
Okay.
So we found about 5 of the baskets so far. So kids have been definitely looking and scavenging through the mountain to find and locate things and measure things out.
Okay, here's what's left of the chairlift.
Yeah, so you can come right in. It's a little it's a little rough, but it has a 70 horsepower motor, I believe. But so what would happen is that it would come around with a chair, you would stand here, sit, and it would lift you and take you right up. So it was built by Chimbro back in the 60s. It was one of the original, or one of their first projects, and
Yeah.
you know, people refer to it as a rough project, as one of their first ones. And they used different parts that weren't necessarily ski industry. So they kind of put it together, and it was functional, but to truly do it right and bring it up to code, and also for something that you're going to sustain over the next 10 or 20 years, you want to do it and do it right this time.
So probably, I mean, all of this is going to have to disappear, right, in order to put a new lift in. Now, these towers are not, if you're, and you talked about triple chair, these towers and lines would not support that.
No, so the $750,000, if we use that number, that would include the install of new towers and everything. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty good length. As I recall, it's like 2,200 feet or something like that. So it's...
and if you look at that elevation drop, that's pretty significant. Compared to like a local mountain like Titcomb, this has a much more vertical drop.
And I believe at one time we were able to ski under this lift when there was sufficient snow. Of course, many years ago when I skied, the snowmaking was not really a part of it, so we relied totally on natural snow.
Oh, yeah.
So there are a lot of times where you just didn't have snow for certain trails to be open, but as I mentioned, I mean, this mountain has some very difficult trails for a smaller family mountain. It really is a challenging place, and yet the bottom and over on the right hand side of the mountain, it's easier, so it's more for beginner oriented. But
people have told us that the vertical drop, because there's like double black diamonds here, that the challenging trails are equivalent to Sugarloaf for difficulty. It's just not the length.
Yes.
So they're shorter runs, but they are just as difficult and as challenging.
Yeah.
And we've had a group of individuals that work on making glades for like the Camden Snow Bowl.
Yep.
So they've reached out to offer their expertise and help if the kids look at a map plan, and if it decides that we could use glades here, then they would help create those. So
yeah, and I think that the ski industry is a relatively small family here in Maine.
Yeah, everyone kind of pitches
in and helps out, and certainly the big areas understand the importance of having a smaller mountain where young families can learn to ski and then maybe graduate to ski at some of the bigger mountains. So I'm sure you'll get some help from those areas here.
And that, it's almost like the microbreweries, how they work and support one another in the area. And, for us, when it comes to food here, we're committed to the locally sourced food concept. Even our food program at school is all locally sourced.
Yeah.
So we use the main meal.
Correct,
basically gourmet food using locally sourced ingredients as much as the season allows.
Would they potentially be involved out here as well?
Possibly, and we would be looking at eventually everything in that kitchen would be locally sourced as much as possible.
Okay.
So really tapping into local farmers and local
so
food industry.
All the years of my skiing in ski areas, a burger and fries was one of my common meals. Can you still do that?
You can still do that. We might get local fries made by Stan. Stan's Fries. But yeah, absolutely. You think about the Miller's Table and how they have locally sourced beef for their burgers. You can really do local things out here at an affordable price for all families. And that's the key, is finding that price point so that way families can afford it and you're not deterring them.
Yeah.
And one of the concepts that I know that the kids were having is that if you treat this like a year-round restaurant, right, where it's also a lodge, but people can come and eat and enjoy the experience year-round. Yeah. So it's not just a one-and-done season, right, where it's a snack bar. It's more of that local feel, agri-hub kind of experience. So. And
you were talking about making it affordable to families. Now, obviously, you guys are going to have to come up at some point with some price points that are affordable to local families. And, you got to make it so they're not priced out and we can encourage people to get back into skiing and snowboarding and so forth. But so you got a lot in front of you, really. But I think it's a fabulous thing. I mean, I think the community has a strong desire to get this place open again, and I suspect that you will receive a lot of help within the community for this. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people, every time we mention Eaton Mountain out in the community, they have a lot of memories connected to this place, and they're willing to offer whatever they have to help, you know. So even locally, you know, Harvey Austin, local business owner, we actually bought some storage containers off him when he was out here. He really thought about what he could offer us for plowing and helping us out, and he really cares about getting the mountain up and going. So,
well, that I think you'll find a lot of other people as well that will be interested in helping you. It would be a big thing for the community to have this place open again. Well, you know, I think we've run an hour or so, and I would really like to thank you again, Travis, for showing us around, and this is very, very exciting. So I'm thinking that maybe we come back about this time next year and do a progress check.
Absolutely.
With you folks, because it sounds like we've got some exciting days to come at Eaton Mountain, and certainly at the Community Regional Charter School.
Absolutely.
So,
thank you.
Thank you very much. And now you know.